Now, back to the HaneyBiz Project with investorpreneur Mark Haney.
Welcome back to the HaneyBiz Project. I'm Mark Haney, and today I am joined by the entrepreneur next door, Mr. Tom Kandris. As you can tell, my voice is starting to go. But Tom, you brought along with you today a couple of buddies, your nephew, Jason Wahler, and Victor Assad, right? Tell us what you got going, Tom. What do you get yourself into these days?
Hey, well, I've told you before that I'm kind of wandering but not lost. But right now I'm looking to develop business models around my passion, right? And I want to do it with people that I love and care about, and I want it to be impactful. And so there's a great opportunity here to basically solve a problem that is huge in our market and actually in the world, opiate addiction.
Yes,
so we're
yes.
focused on recovery.
A lot of us know you from Package One and all the entrepreneurial things that you do here in Sacramento. Now, tell us about this new project and why it's so important to you.
Well, I think it's a longer show than what we're talking about here today, but I can tell you that the team here, my nephew, Jason, I think helped save my son's life. So family is kind of suffering from these challenges. And so here's an opportunity for me to give back and kind of change the dynamics for other families.
Jason, kicking it over to you. Talk to us about this opioid epidemic that's here. I guess it's all over the place, but why is it so personal to you? And what are you doing?
It's not even an epidemic anymore, man. It's a massacre. I mean, at the end of the day, 18 of my 24 family members are affected by the disease. It nearly took my life multiple times. And I was living in such a false sense of reality, and I think so many people are robbed from the opportunity to live a true, meaningful, powerful, beautiful life, and that's something that I've got to experience because I've been on both ends, and to actually have true relationships, true connections, and have a sense of purpose. It's changed my life completely. I mean, it's been, like I said, getting to know Tom the way I've known Tom now. I mean, he's family, but also he's become like a very dear friend, and Vic, who's next to me. I mean, he's been through the trenches. I mean, it's interesting how we met. Even driving by on the freeway to where we're at today. But we have a purpose today, and that's what we're here to fulfill.
Victor, give us your background and what is this purpose?
I am a native Southern California kid who eventually became locked up in the prison of addiction. I have a very large life, great business, family, wife, kids, and I was going down the tubes. And I was suffering from this seemingly hopeless disease. And then eventually I had a spiritual awakening. And I have since aligned myself and been in a path of recovery and tried to share my experiences and strength and hope with others. And hopefully that's what we're going to do on a broader basis and maybe make a cultural shift.
Now, Jason, you were a TV star, and you became exposed to this problem. What's the business look like today that you're building with Tom and Victor? What are you guys trying to do?
Well, I think at the end of the day, look, I went through a very public battle with addiction, and I was able to utilize that platform to show that change is possible. And I think through this is that one is. Look, treatment is so looked down upon. It's almost like you're guilty by association because there's so much fraud. There's so much stuff that goes into it. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to provide is that treatment does work. It can help people. It does help people. And we're trying to shed light and creating a new standard in the way people perceive treatment is really what it comes down to. There is no standard. The fact that you and we can't go open a cancer clinic today, but me and you can go open a treatment center. I have so much frustration towards that because it is a primary chronic progressive and fatal disease, just like cancer. So there needs to be standards and set things around that. And there is no, as we see, there's no effect that's disrupted the process. All we've seen is the death tolls go up every single year. And it's like you got to start with the change at the beginning, the point of entry.
The problem is enormous, Tom, but what's the business model that you're creating to address this problem?
Well, part of the business model is really developing a virtual platform that we can reach a lot of people. There'll be a physical component to it, but I think as Jason mentioned, there's so many things that are not right with the service industry that we're looking to attack, and we're going to do it the right way. So I think there's some great business models. There's a change in modality and how we attack the problem. A whole vetting system, a whole medical recovery system, and kind of building out that elite team to really bring real change to this industry.
So there are physical locations for the business?
There are physical locations that we'll work with as an affiliate, and then long term there will be some physical locations that will be part of TLC.
So thinking, Victor, what do you imagine the business looking like? Right now you're at the beginning stages. What can we imagine this business is going to look like in the years to come?
Well, our hopes are to be able to bring a new awareness for people younger, a demographic that is younger, educating them and trying to promote a better way of living rather than falling into the vortex of substance or alcohol abuse.
You know, we think about recovery, Jason. I mean, what are the keys in recovering from these terrible addictions?
Well, I think for me, the biggest, how I stay sober is through foundation, fellowship, and service. You know, not to sound cliche, but what we're going to implement here through the business model is prevention, education, and solution. We're not going to focus and talk about the problem. We're going to do something about it. Our team, what I've noticed is with the people we've all met with and the connection that we have within people, it's mission over margin incentivized. You know, we're passionate about it. We wake up, it's not a job, it's something that we actually get motivated towards, and we know that we're making progress through that.
Tom, thinking about next steps, I've heard you guys talking about a trip out to Washington, D.C. What kind of steps are you taking now at this stage of the game?
Yeah.
You're my favorite, bro. I love this guy. I'm sorry.
You're pumped.
But I want to add one thing is that this is really, as much as it's about the addict and the individual, it's really about the family.
Amen.
And so this is a whole family dynamic, it's changing the dynamics of a dysfunctional family who has an addict in it and the impact on the family. So the education is not just for, the recovery is not just for the addict, but it's also for the entire family. So what we hope to accomplish is that, frankly, we're out here, building out the model, working with our affiliates, try to influence the direction of where Washington will take this problem and basically where we're going to meet the challenge.
Well, I can only imagine, Tom, you and I are such close friends, but I can only imagine what it does to the families that are affected by addiction, and it tears them apart. You're saying this is a family issue, but this is the type of thing that tears families apart, isn't it, Jason?
It really is. I mean, look, at the end of the day, sometimes the loved ones around the addict are actually sicker than the actual addict, and you don't understand that. I mean, I saw my dad and mom, due to enabling and codependency, physically and mentally age 10 years in a matter of 1 or 2 because of the stress and the things that they didn't know how to set those boundaries, and I mean that's what people don't understand is it goes both sides. I mean it disrupts the whole component, everything that I know within my family. Like I said, having 18 of my 24 family members suffer with the disease. My brother, I mean, when he was actively in this whole thing, I literally had to reach out to outside sources, even though I do this for a living and I'm in this constantly, is because I'm too close to it. I have a bias on the situation, and it's very easy to get wrapped up into.
I feel like the addict in recovery also puts the family in a hostage situation.
Correct.
And we're sitting in a room full of people right now, and I'm guessing that each one of us has some sort of connection to someone who is suffering with this disease. I believe the statistic now is 1 in 4.
1 out of every 4 people.
In the world, 1 in 4 has substance abuse problems.
Is this problem growing? Or is it staying the same? I mean, it feels like we're so much more aware today of it than we were maybe 10 years ago.
This disease is progressive, but what we're going to try to do is make recovery progressive also.
We're going to make recovery attractive. We're going to make it cool. We're going to make it a part of...
And these guys will make it cool.
We're going to make it
Well, let's talk about that for a second here. You guys bring a cool factor. Kandris, we know you as the entrepreneur. Jason, you are the movie star. You've done the reality TV stuff. But Victor, you've got relationships that go far beyond what most of us might think are normal.
It's true. It's true. I have a very big life right now, and I could not manage within that framework. I had to live a double life. I was using and trying to promote myself as an upstanding citizen, and meanwhile I was sneaking around and hiding and lying, and it was the worst prison I've ever experienced in my life, the worst. And today I have a freedom and a happiness that I can hardly iterate to you right now. But I feel as pumped as you do. I vibe off your...
Victor, I think the biggest thing is for Victor and I think we can relate to this, and Victor, correct me if I'm wrong, we both lived and had an overinflated ego with an underestimated sense of self-worth. That's basically how it describes our lifestyles. We were living through our materials or other things that really could just deflect from who we really were.
Yeah. Just closing thoughts, Tom. We only have about a minute left. Closing thoughts about this venture and what the rest of us might be thinking about. How can we help?
Well, I want to add one other comment here is that going through the struggles as a family, the only good night's sleeps we had is when we knew that our son was in lockdown. And so I want to make sure that other families can have good night's sleeps when their sons and daughters and loved ones are out and about and can find that kind of peace.
Amen.
What can your friends do to help a family or a friend when their family is going through such tough times? I mean, we obviously know you and Teresa so well, Tom, and tried to stay by your side. But what can friends do to support? Sometimes we don't know what to do.
Don't be ashamed. Reach out, get help, educate yourself. Give us a call.
I want to thank you guys for coming on the show today.
Thank you,
Victor
Mark.
Assad, yes. Jason Wahler, Tom Kandris. Appreciate you calling attention to this horrible epidemic, massacre, if you will. When we come back, we will be talking a little more about entrepreneurship, and hopefully I will get my voice back.